Shiloh Sanders walked onto the NFL stage carrying a last name that echoes through football history. But unlike his father's dazzling path of first-round picks, gold chains, and instant stardom, Shiloh's entrance was far more humble and unforgiving. No cameras followed him on draft night, no analysts were breaking down his highlight reels with the word "can't miss" attached, and no teams were clearing cap space for him. Shiloh came in through the NFL's back door, undrafted, uncelebrated, and expected to vanish before the regular season even began. But then something happened that flipped the script. His very first preseason game, he didn't just take the field to blend in, he exploded onto it. He launched himself into the spotlight with the kind of ferocity and precision that forces even the coldest, most jaded scouts to stop and whisper, "Wait a second, who was that?" On that night, the undrafted rookie out of Colorado proved to Tampa Bay, to Tennessee, and to the entire NFL that this story wasn't going to be forgotten so easily. Picture this. The Buccaneers are lined up against the Titans, just another forgettable August matchup to most fans. But for players like Shiloh Sanders, these are do-or-die moments. Every snap is an audition, every second a chance to either build your resume or erase your dream. Shiloh creeps toward the line of scrimmage, eyes locked on the quarterback, heart racing but focused. The ball is snapped. In an instant, Shiloh is gone, shooting through the gap like he's been fired from a cannon. No hesitation, no fear, no wasted motion. He flies untouched straight into the backfield, collides with quarterback Brandon Allen, and drives him into the turf. The ball sails incomplete, the play ends, and the entire stadium feels the shock of what just happened. It wasn't just a sack attempt, it was a statement. It was Shiloh Sanders screaming to the world, "I belong here!" That single play echoed louder than any scouting report ever could. The hit was clean, the timing flawless, the intensity undeniable. And suddenly, Tampa Bay coaches weren't looking at him as a camp body. They were looking at him as a possible weapon. Teammates, many of whom barely knew him outside of the Sanders name, saw more than just legacy in that moment. They saw fire, they saw fearlessness, they saw a rookie who wasn't afraid to set a tone. NFL insiders started whispering. Analysts began shifting their language. Shiloh Sanders wasn't just here because of bloodlines. He was carving his own identity, one violent collision at a time. What made it even sweeter was the timing. Just a night earlier, Shiloh's younger brother Shiloh Sanders had electrified fans in his debut as the Browns' starting quarterback. Suddenly, both Sanders brothers were grabbing NFL headlines within 24 hours of each other. One commanding an offense, the other commanding respect on defense. And yet, Shiloh's path was undeniably more treacherous. Shiloh was a quarterback with draft buzz and high expectations. Shiloh was an undrafted safety clinging to hope. But hope quickly turned into momentum. Because after that first strike on Brandon Allen, Shiloh didn't fade away. He followed it up in the second half, slicing through blockers to tackle Titans running back Khalil Mullings and setting up a crucial third down. These aren't the flashy plays that make ESPN highlight reels, but they're the lifeblood of what coaches love. Reading the offense, taking the right angle, making a clean tackle in space, those details scream professionalism. Those are the little wins that stack up in film sessions, the kind that make coaches nod and say, "We can trust this guy." And trust is everything for an undrafted rookie. Without it, you're gone before September. With it, you get a chance to prove yourself again. That was Shiloh's debut in a nutshell. One game, one night, one opportunity to either fade into obscurity or demand attention. And he demanded it. Now let's zoom out. The reality of the Buccaneers roster is brutal. Tampa Bay isn't hurting for safeties. At the top of the depth chart is Antoine Winfield Jr., an All-Pro, a player who might be the best safety in football right now. Next to him is Ty Smith, a starter with both experience and trust in Todd Bowles' defensive system. Behind them are reliable veterans like Christian Ezien and Kayvon Merriweather, players who know the playbook inside and out. And then, there's the wave of young competitors. J.J. Roberts, Rashad Wisdom, other hungry defensive backs clawing for recognition. Some are even making plays in camp that have turned heads. This is Shiloh's reality. He's not just competing against the offense across from him. He's competing against a room full of players fighting for the same dream. One mistake, one missed tackle, one bad angle could send him tumbling down the depth chart, his name forgotten. That's the razor-thin margin for error he's living with every practice, every rep. And yet that's why his debut The fallout from Shiloh Sanders' suspension wasn't just about a single game, it was about legacy, power, and the fragile line between brilliance and recklessness. After Part 1 left us with the bombshell of Shiloh being ejected and Coach Prime forced to confront his own son in front of millions, the nation wanted answers. Was this the end of Shiloh's college football career, or the beginning of the most controversial comeback story in Colorado history? The cameras stayed rolling long after the final whistle, and every reporter wanted the soundbite that would define the moment. But Deion Sanders didn't crack. He didn't throw his son under the bus. He looked straight into the cameras with those signature sunglasses and said, "This is family business, and family business is always complicated." That line set the internet on fire. Suddenly, this wasn't just a football story. It was a dynasty drama unfolding in real time. The sports world couldn't stop debating it. Was Deion Sanders protecting his son or enabling him? Was Shiloh just a hot-headed competitor or a liability to Colorado's championship hopes? Every ESPN panel split down the middle. Former players called Shiloh's hit old-school football, while others said it was reckless enough to cost him an NFL future. And through all of this, Shiloh Sanders kept his composure. The younger brother, the quarterback, the golden child of the Sanders family, suddenly had to answer questions about his brother instead of his own Heisman campaign. In one press conference, Shedur's face tightened when a reporter asked, "Do you think Shiloh let the team down?" Without hesitation, Shedur fired back, "That's my brother, and I ride with him every day. He didn't let us down. We all make mistakes. We move forward." That moment went viral. Fans replayed it over and over, dissecting the body language, the tone, the unshakable loyalty. For the first time, the Sanders brothers weren't just teammates, they were a headline soap opera. But here's where the story takes its darkest turn. Behind the scenes, Shiloh was suspended not only by the Pac-12, but also privately disciplined by his father. Deion's rules had always been crystal clear: no one is above the team. Yet punishing your own son is not the same as disciplining a regular player. Insiders claimed the locker room grew tense. Some players sided with Shiloh, arguing he brought the fire and energy the Buffs needed. Others quietly whispered that Shiloh's recklessness jeopardized everything they'd been building. One unnamed player reportedly told a local journalist, "We came here for Shedur and Coach Prime, not Shiloh's drama." That quote spread across Twitter like wildfire. Shiloh, scrolling on his phone late into the night, couldn't escape it. The whispers, the memes, the hot takes, it all built pressure on a 23-year-old kid carrying the Sanders name. And let's be honest, being a Sanders means you're not just an athlete, you're a brand. Every step Shiloh took was magnified 100 times. Every mistake became a headline. When practices resumed, reporters swarmed the sidelines. Would Shiloh start again? Would Deion trust him back in the lineup? Or would this become a permanent stain on the family empire? For days, Coach Prime kept the world guessing. He posted cryptic messages on Instagram, talking about discipline, growth, and trust. But not once did he mention Shiloh by name. That silence spoke louder than any press conference. Meanwhile, NFL scouts began to reconsider their notes. Before the suspension, Shiloh had been projected as a mid-round safety with elite instincts, but inconsistent discipline. After the suspension, whispers turned into doubts. "Can you trust him in the NFL?" one anonymous scout told The Athletic. "The talent is there, but the decision-making is scary." And here's where the contrast with Shedur became impossible to ignore. While Shiloh's stock fell, Shedur's rose. Every touchdown pass, every comeback drive, every viral locker room speech pushed Shedur closer to becoming a first-round NFL pick. The comparison between the brothers was brutal. One was ascending toward NFL stardom, the other was being defined by one reckless hit. Sports talk shows loved the narrative. The rise of Shedur, the fall of Shiloh, they called it. But the truth? The story wasn't that simple, because Shiloh Sanders wasn't done yet. The suspension only fueled his fire. Teammates later revealed that during his time off, Shiloh attacked practice harder than anyone. He showed up early, stayed late, lifted with a rage, and hit the field like a man possessed. One assistant coach even admitted he was out to prove everyone wrong, even his own father. And then came the moment of redemption. Weeks later, Colorado faced a top 10 opponent in a must-win game. The Buffs were underdogs, written off by Vegas, doubted by analysts. Shedur was balling out, but the defense was being torn apart. That's when Coach Prime made the call. He turned to Shiloh, hoo-ha,